So in today's review, I want to talk about impatience and how impatience can kill you. Not literally, but you know what I mean. So today was a tough day in the markets again. This price action has been brutal since we've had that tariff announcement last Wednesday, and not brutal in the sense that it's we haven't had any moves. It's been brutal in the sense that it's just really tough to read, and if you're not willing to have to risk small size and to have bigger stops, you're gonna get tossed around. But for me today, it was impatience. Impatience is what did most of the damage for me. So let's just get into what I was seeing at the desk in the morning, and we'll go from there, and then we'll get into the trades and we'll break them all down. So getting to the desk in the morning, we had this slide down yesterday again, and then the overnight session, we get this rally just before the close yesterday, and then into the overnight session, we're above the start of day VWAP. We're holding the value area low right here quite nicely. And as you can see in the overnight session, we get a nice rally up to the point of control. Price sits there and then pulls back down. Now, the interesting thing for me is this red line here is the tariff VWAP, I call it. It's basically last Wednesday when they announced that there's going to be a 90-day pause on the tariff. So let's just call it the tariff VWAP, and then point of control are pretty close to each other. And here, this level has been quite a level of either you cut through it or you bounce around above it as support, or you get below and it works as resistance against you. So clearly a very interesting level, and it's a very key VWAP right now that I have on my chart, and it's on there full time. And yeah, so we get this, London session open here, price pulls back, we get back to the start of day VWAP, we get back with chopping under, and then, the buyers try to take over a few times, and you can see you get these big pins here, and no luck. And I believe this was news this morning, again, that Donald Trump was in talks with China or something, but this was too early for me. I wasn't even at the desk. I just was reading through the notes and looking at some other trades that were going on in the group, but that was kind of where that is at. But let's actually get into the actual trades I took this morning and more about that. So this was the first trade I took, and I got to the desk at 9:45. So basically after the opening range had set in, I threw a VWAP on that news pin high that I showed you earlier. That was back there somewhere. The pre-market would have been like around, I think, 8 a.m. New York time. It's basically the pre-market high, swing high, and I had a VWAP on there just to kind of see where the buyers and sellers that got in at that price, where they'd be kind of coming back into the fold. And as you can see here, we have the New York open, price stays below it, we get a push back up, and then we reject off of this VWAP. Pushes below it again, and now we break the New York VWAP. I was looking at NQ on my other chart in the bottom, and NQ had already taken the bottom of its opening range and just looked a lot more bearish. So for me, there was somebody in the group that was taking a short on NQ. I prematurely jumped into this short. And like I said, I got in 5 micros on the break of the New York VWAP, and I just got to the desk and saw NQ taking its value area low, so could see the downside. And here's the value area low on ES. We still haven't taken it, but on NQ we're below it now, so just something that I was looking at. Immediately I get in here. What happens? Price turns around on me. We break the New York. I should have looked to cut it here when it broke this, let's call it news VWAP. But, it's one of those things. I was just too excited to get into a trade and took the trade and basically took a full loss. So that's how I started my morning. And 5 micros is what I normally trade in my 150K top one funded straight top one future straight to funded account. I have $6,000 of drawdown in that account, and I'm basically plus 800, so I got full drawdown available to me, and I want to trade with size. I'm actually going to probably look into sizing this up some more next week. And this 100K Tradeify account is the one I took the payout on. I have about $1,300, $1,200 of drawdown in it. And I was just thinking to myself, how long am I going to trade this Tradeify account and this 150K top one futures account? What was happening this week, I started to notice that I was taking my first trade, or executing the trade, because I'm on TradingView, executing the trade in the Tradeify account through Tradeovate on my TradingView, then coming over to a separate screen and executing in my top one futures account on Project X. And what that was doing was getting me a delayed price. This time it worked in my favor a little bit because I actually, executed here. Price pulled back up a little bit. I executed on the 150K account, but I'm realizing that I'm the account I want to focus on the most, that I haven't taken a payout on, and that is going to offer me the best path to taking a payout, is the top one futures account. And it's almost like it's getting it's being getting the second shake, and this 100K Tradeify account, which I've already taken a payout on, I've done what I needed to do, is almost like a priority. So really something I want to think about over the weekend, and how I handle these accounts. And maybe I just trade this one really aggressive, the Tradeify one, and see if I can get it back to another payout. If not, I get rid of it, and I can just focus on this, and maybe I'll look at getting another few top one futures 150K accounts while they're on sale. At 50% off, $3.99 for a 150K straight to funded account, with the rules they have, their path to payout, their drawdown, it's insane. So that sale is going to be running till the end of the month. Down in my description is the discount code for that. So, if you haven't got one yet, I'd highly recommend getting one. It is a no-brainer if you're trading prop and you want to size up. It is definitely the account you want to have. You'll never see a sale like that probably ever again, and prices like that ever again. But anyway, something just to think about. So yeah, full loss on my first trade. And then as we get into the second trade, as we get into the second trade, again, so basically, I'm in on the first trade here, come back, full loss. I'm impatient. I took a $500 loss. I'm probably a little bit emotional now, not happy, revenge trading, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And what do? Now I'm looking, and I'm flipping the other side of the coin and justifying why I can get long. What do? I get long. This time I go 5 micros in the Tradeify account and 10 micros in the top one futures account. What happens? Price chops around, does nothing more than chop around, and it just chops around this previous day's New York VWAP, which was another key level that we hit today. But anyways, chops around, comes back down on me, takes this news VWAP, takes this New York VWAP. I cut the trade. I don't wait for this to come down here. What am I doing? We've taken these 2 VWAPs. I'm sized in a decent amount. I don't need to be in this. If this wants to come back up and do this and do this and do this, I can look to re-enter here. Let's just cut it. If not, look what happens. I would have took a full loss. So I cut the trade on the third 1-minute candle rejection of the New York VWAP. And as you can see, you get this slide down, you get this rejection, and then I cut the trade. So for me, that was telling me enough, especially that it's taken both these VWAPs. There's really no other line below me. What I'm going to say, I'm going to bring it down to the value area low and find some support here. Well, I could have held on to there, and look what happened. Doesn't matter, right? So I'm glad I cut it when I did. It was a sizable loss in the top one futures account, but I got a lot of drawdown, and I got to trade that one with more size if I want to hit the profit target I need to take a payout. The Tradeify account, I took another big dent in it, and I'm basically down to a few $100s of drawdown left in that account. And I wasn't sad about it, to be honest, because I'll be happy when I'm done with that account. And then coming into the last trade, this was the last trade. This was a short, and this played out beautifully. Now, if I not had been impatient and taken this short here, or tried this long here, my day would have been beautiful. I would have been dancing all the way into the weekend, and just stoked. So anyways, I get out here, I cut my trade. Price comes back up, rejects off of the started day VWAP, and again we take these 2 VWAPs to the downside. And as we get candle open below it, and then we get this push down, I enter here. I got a big stop up here, but you know what? I'm going to cut this again. I'll look to cut it depending on the reaction here somewhere. But if we get a move like this, comes back, pulls down, I'm okay with it. It is I'm expecting something like that. And what happens? The sellers finally put the throttle on. We come down, they find some support here, resistance, whatever you want to call it, at the opening range low. They kind of chop around, and then we get this next leg down. And once we got down into here, I trailed my stop to the opening range low. We come down, we push up again, bounce right off of the initial balance low. I set my stop here. I'm going to be just slightly green in the top one futures account and slightly red in the Tradeify account, which at that point I was okay with it. I think I was down 290 in the Tradeify account, and I would have been up $50 in the top one. And like I said, the top one futures account is the one I need to be focusing on, I think. So to be green 50 on that one is a much better feeling than to be down on that one and then up on the Tradeify account, which was going to take me a lot more work to get me to that payout target. And a lot less, or a lot more stress having that little bit of drawdown and trying to work that drawdown up into a larger amount versus having more drawdown and be able to go in with appropriate risk and appropriate size for the trade I want to take, and to be able to get what I need out of the trade versus trying to be, it's I love trading 1 or 2 micros in volatility, but if I only have a few $100s of drawdown, I'm going to have to, base it a lot to get to that payout target versus in the 150 Tradeify account, in the top one futures account, I have a lot more drawdown. It gives me ability to size up on certain A+ setups. So we'll see how that goes next week, and we'll talk more about it. And I'm up 1,200 in the top one futures on this trade, 550 on the Tradeify account, and then you take out the losses out of it, and like I said, I'm up $50. I'm down 290 or 250. So it is what it is. This is day trading. This is the grind we're in. The issue I have with today is just my lack of patience. And the first short was a very valid setup. This second long, there was no need for it. We had no clear structure yet. I was getting in prematurely. Looking at this from the short side, we got lower high, lower high, lower high. We come down, we reject off of these VWAPs. We come down, I could see this thing wanting to do that. I should have waited for a break of the value area low or even the opening range low, just for something like that, and then look to enter back up here. But again, a little bit of impatience, but this was a much more valid setup than this. This was pure FOMO and pure impatience. Like, I needed to wait for this to come up and do this, come back to here, and then get in on this leg up. And as you can see, as we find support here at this VWAP, price pushes up, but again, we don't take out even this pin. So there's no structure form for me to tell me that we've actually broke, retested, and broke this again to the upside. So, really, really key things for me I learned today was just a good lesson in patience and a good lesson in just waiting for structure to form. And if you stay flat on a day like today, it's okay. Flat's a position, right? And I basically just got FOMO'd and rushed in, and I forced some trades, and this is what happens, right? And we'll come back and we'll look at the calendar. And my week overall has been, it's been a grind. It's been a really a grind. And I gotta say, my first week of the month I was up 1,000 by the end of the week. My second week I was up 1,700, and this week I'm up 450. So I'm actually going backwards, but I'm still finishing the week green. You got to remember, these things are very important, right? Small red, small green, small green, small green. So, my winners are still bigger than my losers, and my losers are smaller than my winners. So that's what matters at the end of the day for the moment. But this lack of patience and these other things are things I really want to reflect on this weekend and work on. And I just want to carry into next week, and I really want to look at how I'm going to treat that Tradeify account and how much weight I'm going to put on it. And I really want to focus on that top one futures account, because I can get that thing close to a payout pretty quick. I just got to stay focused on that, and I think I'm getting skewed by having the two accounts. And I'm letting a loss or a win in the one account skew how I treat the other account and vice versa. So really something interesting to think about. And, I'm thankful you guys sit and watch these videos. I really appreciate the support, the comments. Everything is amazing. Truly, it is a great feeling to know that here I am putting it all out there, and there's somebody on the other side watching it and hopefully learning from it. And, if there's something that you can offer, please comment. I appreciate any advice. I'm a learning trader. I'm a new trader that's learning to, and it's one of those things that I'm going to be learning for the rest of my life probably as I trade. It's one of those professions you get into that you never stop learning. So I'm always looking forward to the comments and looking forward to reading what people have to say. And And like I said before, I'm truly grateful that that you guys are following me along on this journey. So click, comment, subscribe, you know the routine, the same stuff, and enjoy your Easter long week. And